of me and you. It's telling us love is who I am. You and me, we're not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Welcome to A Course of Love. 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 Now let's come together and understand that Christ was born inside of every man. He's waiting for us to choose him as ourselves. If you choose him, you know you choose me too. Everyone becomes a part of you, and then you know that love is who I am and who you are. You and me, we're not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Oh yeah. Tell me, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. You and I, we are one. Welcome to A Course of Love. Welcome to A Course of Love. I'm Earl Purdy. Welcome to A Course of Love. Welcome to A Course of Love. I'm your facilitator teacher, Earl Purdy, and I'm so glad to have these times with you, mighty companion. I so look forward to it. The Course of Love is a course for the heart. The Course of Love is not about the analytical ego mind. Course of Love is about getting into the true center, the heart of your being. You and me, we're not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Oh yeah. Tell me, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it. Know that we are one. You and I, we are one. You and I, we are one. You and I, Course of Love. Welcome to A Course of Love. Welcome to A Course of Love. Let's go into our hearts. We are with our mighty companions. Oh yeah. Good, Sherry. I can feel that love. 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 Hey, I'm Earl Purdy. And I want to welcome you to A Course of Love, A Course for the Heart. A very powerful book, very powerful material. I love to teach out of the book. I love to bring those words of Jesus, of Yeshua, to life from A Course of Love. What I want to share is you don't have to believe the ideas. You don't have to accept the ideas. You don't have to welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas may startle you. Some of the ideas may be hard to believe. Some of the ideas may upset you. Some of the ideas may thrill you and inspire you. But basically, you're not being asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all, really. It's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you. It's the use of the ideas that will show you that the ideas are true. The actual ideas from A Course of Love will show you that the ideas are true. Tonight we're going to talk about something that we hear a lot about. And that's going to be prayer. We're going to talk about prayer. What prayer really is from A Course of Love standpoint. How do you really pray most effectively from A Course of Love standpoint? So it's a section that's going to call for really opening yourself up, really allowing yourself to get centered. So I want to invite you to just take a moment now. Let's take a breath. Let's just take a breath and realize that it's you and I, me and you. We're going to be listening to A Course of Love. And you're going to hear me call out my name a lot also, because I am also a teacher and a learner. The Course of Love is for me also. And so I'm also listening with the same intensity of attention that you are listening with. So what we're going to start with is A Course of Love, the act of prayer, and that is chapter 6, page 221 in A Course of Love, page 221, chapter 6, the act of prayer. So the act of prayer, chapter 6, page 221. We are doing this in real time, and I can see all of your comments. And sometimes I may get a chance to reply. And also, you have all your mighty companions online with you. So this gives us a chance to really join. So don't hesitate to make comments. Don't hesitate to communicate with each other. And please like the video. Please share the video. Right next to the comments area on your screen, you can share the video. The more people that get a chance to hear this, the more it's shared, the more Facebook will share it in the community. So this is our opportunity to bring more love on this planet and more love within us. So let's talk about this. This is going to be it's going to approach prayer in a way that I've never heard it before. So let's see. The act of prayer, paragraph 1, chapter 6. Do you know that the thought system of the ego mind, the thought system of the regular mind, do you know that it is a learned system? And since the way that you think, you learn to think that way, it also means that you can unlearn the way that you think that's not bringing you peace. Now, the thought system of truth, the way of thinking that comes from spirit, the way of thinking that comes from A Course of Love, the truth is something that's always present, and the truth is always present, and the truth is something you cannot learn, and the truth is not something you can unlearn. Okay, so what's not true, you can learn. What's not true, you can unlearn. What is the truth cannot be learned, and what is the truth cannot be unlearned. It cannot be undone. But what is it that the truth can be? The truth can be revealed to you. I can't learn the truth. I can't unlearn the truth, but the truth can be revealed to me. So how can you have the real truth that only brings joy and happiness and abundance? How can you have the real truth revealed to you? The real truth will be revealed to you when the way that you've learned to think that is not true ceases to block you and to block your hearing the truth and having the truth revealed to you. Okay, so let me make sure I got this. The way that I learned from the world, that doesn't really create any consistent happiness. Since that's a way of thinking that was learned, that's a way of thinking that can be unlearned. The truth, though, cannot be learned nor unlearned. The truth, though, can be revealed to you. And what is it that allows the truth to be revealed to you? When the way that you learn to think, no longer blocks your being able to have those realizations. You are not your thinking. You are not your thinking. We've been programmed. There's a part of the mind that's been programmed. And we don't realize that the things that we have learned from the world that are not based on the truth was a form of programming. And so a lot of times what I say is my thoughts, my feelings, what I believe. It's not what I'm thinking or what I'm believing. It's just the program that I've learned, the things that I've been taught I should think, the things I've been taught I should value, the things that I have been taught. That's what I'm acting from, not really from who I really am. That's totally separate from all of that. So the ego is basically a way of thinking based on separation and untruths that we have learned. And A Course of Love teaches, and other truth teachings teach, that you can tell it must not be true what we've learned from the world because of the lack of consistent joy and happiness and love that we are experiencing. So how is this revelation, this revealing of the truth, how is the revealing of the truth going to take place? How is this revelation of what's really true, how is it going to take place? Well, I'm going to tell you. If you want to have the truth, if you want to know the truth that will set you free, it begins by learning the art of thinking. A Course of Love says something really radical. A Course of Love says there is an art to thinking, that real thinking is an art, and that real thinking is an act of prayer. Really, really thinking, really, really focusing on what's true, that is an act of prayer. So just thinking correctly is a prayer. Just thinking from love and truth is a prayer. So the Course of Love says, we have spoken already of memory here. We have presented the facts of reproducing and recollection that are involved with memory as acts of creation. So what is prayer? Prayer is but reproducing and recollecting a divine memory. So when I pray, I am remembering true spiritual divine thoughts and ideas. So let me get this straight. Prayer is really remembering the thoughts that actually come from God and actually come from truth and actually comes from my spiritual self. Prayer is a divine memory. So that means that prayer cannot help but produce a divine outcome, because prayer is the art of remembering the truth. Just remembering your divine spiritual memories, Earl, that is a prayer. So let me say it another way, okay? Because remember, this isn't about figuring out. This isn't about analyzing. It says that prayer reproduces the truth. So when you pray, this is what you are essentially saying. Would you like to know what you are saying when you are praying? When you are truly praying, you are allowing the truth to exist as the truth is. So when you are truly praying, you are allowing the truth to exist as it is. So prayer allows the real truth to exist as it is, because what is prayer? Prayer is the act of consciously choosing union. Prayer is the act of me I'm consciously choosing to join with you. I'm consciously choosing to unite. I'm consciously choosing to join. I'm consciously choosing not to be separate. That is prayer. So prayer is consciously choosing to join. Prayer is consciously choosing union. This gathering that we are having right now, you and I, it is a prayer because we are consciously choosing to join with each other. Choosing union moves you. So if you really want to be moved, then choosing union moves you. So when I'm really trying to join, when I'm truly joining, I'm going to be moved. So the Course of Love says, choosing union moves you. What does it move you? It moves you into the real state of all from the what? Unreal state of the in-between. Right now let's say, okay, so right now we're choosing to join with some, but not with all. True union is a request to join with everything that's real. So it's only from within a state of truly joining, truly uniting, that's real. And from a state of joining and uniting, that's the state that something real can happen. It says, only from within a state that is real can anything happen in truth. It's only in a state of that's real that anything can really happen in truth. Okay, so prayer must be redefined. Okay, what is a redefinition of prayer? What is the redefinition of prayer? What will be the redefinition of prayer? The redefinition of prayer is I am going to consciously choose union. So when I say I want to pray, I'm saying I want to consciously choose union in this situation. I want to consciously choose union in this circumstance. I want to consciously choose union with this person. I want to consciously choose union with this situation. In this situation that I'm in right now, I want to consciously choose union. In this circumstance that I'm in right now, I want to consistently choose, consciously choose union. So according to A Course of Love, that when I say I want to pray for something, I'm saying I want to unite with it. I want to join with it. I want to consciously join. So with the definition that prayer is consciously choosing union, then your whole life becomes a prayer. Because I'm consciously choosing union, and I'm constantly choosing union. I'm consciously choosing to unite with you right now. Your life is a constant prayer because your whole life is based on consciously choosing union. Now, here's another great definition of prayer. Would you like to hear another great definition of prayer? If you would like to hear another great definition of prayer, if you're with me right now, then send some hearts across the screen for me. Let me know that you're tuned in, that you're joining with me, that you're consciously choosing to join with me. That's right. Send some heart emojis. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. I can feel it every time one comes up on that screen. You know I love you all. You all are so damn cool. I love being with the parts of myself that are you. I love you. I love you. I want to unite with you. I feel you. I feel you all down through every juicy part of my being. You feel so good to me. You feel so good to me. I hope I feel good to you. I try my best to get my ego and my fears out of the way so that you can feel my love. So I hope you feel my love. But it's really God's love when I say my love. Okay, here we go. So prayer, I love the hearts. Thank you. Prayer is also a constant dialogue of asking, being answered, and responding. So what is prayer? Prayer is a constant dialogue. A constant dialogue of what? I am asking, I am being answered, I am responding. I am asking, I'm being answered, and there's a response. I'm asking, I'm being answered, and responding. So prayer is a constant dialogue of asking, being answered, and responding. Asking, being answered, and responding. I am 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 asking, being answered and responding. I am asking, being answered and responding. I am asking, being answered and responding. This is an aspect of prayer that makes prayer an act of creation. So prayer is consciously choosing union. Prayer is consciously choosing to join, Earl. Prayer is constantly choosing to join. Prayer is asking. Prayer is being answered. Prayer is responding. And that makes prayer an act of creation. It's so good to see you all online. And this is just some of the people. Yvette, Vicky, CJ, Lamario, Patricia, Sherry, Jane, Paul, Francie, Lisa, Paris, Susanna, Marina, Janet, Jim, Alexis, Ginger, Myrna, Alicia, Nick, Jerry, Paul, Sasha, Devinda, Tori, Michelle, Yuko, Mark, all of you all online. Thank you. I feel like my family is in the house. My family is in the house. My family is in the house. So, do you know that prayers and miracles work hand in hand once both are seen for what they are? Don't forget what union is. What is union? Union is the mind and the heart being joined in wholeheartedness. Union is my mind and my heart being joined. Union is your mind and your heart being completely joined. It is a union with your real self. Prayer is asking to have a conscious connection with your divine self. The prayer that really has the most power is a prayer that is a conscious choosing to connect with your real self. Union with your real self. Do you know that union with your real self is a union with God? A union with God is a union with yourself. A uniting with God is a uniting with your real self. So that means your concentration must not stray back to old concepts of prayer. Your concentration, don't let your focus go back to your old ideas about prayer. Don't let your consciousness go back to your old ideas about prayer. What were the old concepts of prayer? The old concepts of prayer were concepts of reaching God through the intercession of prayer, as if God were separate from you. The old concept of prayer was, I'm praying to something else. I'm praying to a God that's separate from me. There's a me, and then I'm praying to this God that is separate from me. And I can only pray to God in just a certain specific way, only talking in a certain specific way. That's the old concept. There is no God outside of you to pray to. There is no God outside of you to pray to. There is no God that is not united with you and in you and surrounding you. That is where God is. There is no man in the sky somewhere else outside of you that you're praying to. It is time. Do you know it's time to let go of that concept of God? It says you can see perhaps how this attitude toward prayer came about, as it is, like much you have learned, it's close to the truth. I mean, praying to God, reaching out to God, wanting to connect to your Creator in prayer, that gets close to the truth, but it is not being the truth. So, how should you use prayer? Paragraph 5. How should you use prayer? In chapter 6, the act of prayer, we're in paragraph 5. It says, To use prayer only as a means of reaching out to a God seen as separate is to attempt to use what cannot be used. You're trying to use what can't be used if you're just using prayer to reach out to a God that seems to be separate from you. You're attempting to use what can't be used. When you use those kind of ideas of prayer, it says such ideas of prayer have had credence because this reaching out to God does at least recognize that there's something for you to reach out to. So even though it's not the ultimate correct way of looking at God, at least it reflects that at some level you realize that there is something that you can reach out to. So these ideas of reaching out to God in prayer, they have long been opening doors for those who are ready to walk through those doors to a real relationship with God and a real relationship with self. So even though there's not a God outside of myself for me to pray to, that is like a man somewhere else or some power that's separate from me, at least the idea of reaching out to God is an idea that's in line with the truth. And it's through that attitude that I will eventually become aware of that relationship that I have with God that's already there. Now, this is not the concept of prayer of which we speak, nor one that can reasonably be called a way of life or likened to the art of thought, it says. Prayers such as these emanate from either heart or mind, but reaching out to a God that's separate from you in prayer, that does not have the power of a wholehearted prayer. And what is the power of a wholehearted prayer? A wholehearted prayer is a prayer that is a reflection of the joining of your mind and your heart. It is consciously choosing union. It is asking, being answered, and responding. And it's recognizing that God is not outside of you. The Creator is not outside of you. God is not outside of you. God is not outside of you. God is inside of you. God is everywhere. God is love. That which created us is not separate from us. So prayers that reach out to a God that's separate from you, these kind of prayers are actually coming from fear. These kind of prayers are a reflection of the reality of thinking that you're separate. If there's a God for me to pray to that's separate from me, then I'm really reinforcing the idea of separation. I'm not really reinforcing the idea of union. So God is not separate from you. God is not separate from you. God is not something outside of you. That which created you is not something disconnected from you. And do you want to know when you're not really praying at all? Well, I'm going to tell you. But the first thing you need to recognize about yourself is that you are sinless, and you are innocent. God is inside of you. John Christmas is going to let us know right now that we are sinless, and recognizing that you are sinless and innocent, that's the key to making your connection with God.
You are sinless, you are sinless, you are a child of God. You are sinless, you are sinless, love you like you are. Your invulnerability was your Father's guarantee that you would forever be completely free. You are guiltless, you are guiltless, you are a child of God. You are guiltless, you are guiltless, loves you where you are. Your invulnerability was your Father's guarantee singing the blues? When you're gonna stop singing? When you're gonna stop singing? It's time for you to learn you have nothing to lose.
You are sinless, you're innocent, you're guiltless. So pray from that perspective. That was Brother John Christmas at johnChristmas.com if you'd like to get that music. To pray out of fear is not to pray at all, because a prayer out of fear is a prayer that's not choosing union. Such prayer chooses not the union. That is the prerequisite. To pray out of fear. What is really happening when a person plays out of fear? Well, it's to ask from an unreal state of lack for what is seen as missing or desired. So if I'm praying out of fear, I'm praying out of a sense of lack to replace something that's missing and something that's desired. So a true prayer is not a prayer based on I think I am lacking something. A true prayer is based on the idea of uniting with something. And true prayer is formed in union. So a real prayer is a means of creating. A real prayer is a means of recollecting. A real prayer is the recalling of a divine memory. A true prayer is the transforming of that divine memory into a present moment experience. I love it. You have the truth in you. You have God in you. You have divinity in you. You have all knowledge deep within you. A true prayer is the desire to consciously connect with that divine memory, with that truth of who you are that's already in you. A prayer that has no effect, a prayer that's coming from fear, is a prayer that's acting and coming from an unreal state of thinking that something is missing and you got to get this thing that is missing or lacking. That is a prayer that is coming from fear. A prayer that is coming from union is a prayer in which I consciously choose to remember the divinity of myself. It's a prayer that's based on taking that divine memory of who I really am as a creation of God, and also bringing that memory into my present moment experience. I'm remembering who I really am, and I'm going to bring it into every moment of my life. I'm going to communicate from the idea of my divine memory. I am a holy child of God. I'm an innocent child of God. I am spirit. I am free. I am free. I'm an extension of the love and the loving of God. I'm an extension of the freedom of God. I am an extension of the abundance of God. I am an extension of the thought of God. I am going to relate in the present moment from what my true identity really is. That's a conscious prayer. That is a prayer that has power. A prayer that's coming from that perspective of yourself to consciously join. That is a prayer that really has the power to do something. So what's valuable to us now? What's really valuable to us now is memory. Memory. One of the things I noticed about A Course in Miracles that's really a trip is that the Course in Miracles says over and over again, remember this, don't forget this, remember this, don't forget this. A Course of Love says the same thing, constantly tells us to remember. Our ego wants to analyze and try to figure out everything, but the Course of Love is constantly telling us, remember, don't forget, remember, don't forget. So it's memory that's really valuable to us, because memory doesn't rely on perception. Memory doesn't rely on perception. What does that mean? Well, if memory were the only thing that were available to you, then each experience would begin and end, and each experience would have no ability to relate to anything else at all. In other words, without memory, what you learned one day would be gone the next day. Without memory, everything that you've ever learned, you would forget it. A person you met one day, you would know that person the next time you saw them if it were not for memory. So it's really memory that allows you to have true relationship. My remembering you is what allows me to continue to have a relationship with you. But if I knew you today and I forgot you today, then the next time I saw you, I wouldn't have any kind of real relationship to you. So all true relationship really comes from divine memory. So if we want to have a relationship with our Creator, if we want to have a relationship with each other, we've got to remember each other. We've got to remember who we really are. We have to remember each other to have a relationship with each other. So memory is what allows relationship. Memory, which is how you relate to past experiences, that's what makes you unique. What's making you unique is how you are relating to all your past experiences and your past learning. So a family, for instance, can share many similar experiences without relating to the experiences in the same way. I was one of 7. There were 7 of us. And when any of my siblings would describe my mother, our mother, or when any of my siblings would describe our father, we would all be talking like we're talking about entirely different people. So because of the memories and the relationship that I had with my mother and father, that was very unique and very individual, because memory is what shapes the different personalities. Memory is what shapes paths. And so memories are what, in a sense, can shape the future experiences that all of us have. So what if we started to remember our true relationship with our Creator? What if we started to remember our true relationship to God? What if we started to remember our true relationship to abundance? What if we started to remember our true relationships to loving relationships? Then we would have a relationship with it. So what happens when memories of past experiences are revisited under the all-encompassing umbrella of a new way of thought? What happens when memories of past experiences are revisited, but you're looking at them from your new thought system? For instance, our new thought system tells us that everything is for our own best interest, that there's nothing that's ever happened to us that hasn't ultimately been for our own best interest, if not for any other reason than the incredible learning that it gave us. So what if you look back through your past and you told yourself that everything that happened to you in your past, even though it might not have always been pleasant, even though it might not even be something you ever want to experience again. But what if you told yourself, my childhood was for my own best interest, and everything that happened in my childhood was for my own best interest. Everything that happened in your childhood was for your own best interest. Everything that's ever happened in your past has ultimately been for your own best interest, because it is evolving you, it is awakening you, it is healing you at some soul level. What if you looked at it like everything you think about, everything that you remember from your past, what if you told yourself it was for my own best interest? There was something about that that totally benefited me. What if I looked at everything that's ever happened to me from this new way of thinking, which is that love and God and healing is behind everything that's happening in the world and everything that we see, even if we don't always realize it, even if it doesn't always seem like it? What if you were to tell yourself, everything that's happened to me has been for my own best interest? In this kind of oneness is everlasting peace. So you don't have to believe it. Don't tell yourself you have to believe necessarily that everything that happened to you in your past was for your own best interest. Because remember, the truth is something that you can't learn or unlearn. The truth is just what it is. And the universe is based on love. The universe is based on healing. And it's the healing of God's creation. It is the healing of God's creation. The joining, the connection, the loving, that's the whole point of this experience. So regardless of what it looks like, there's nothing going on in the world but healing. There's nothing going on but healing. Think about it. If you scrape your knee, a scab usually comes as part of the healing of that, right? And let's face it, a scab isn't the prettiest thing that you've ever seen. As a matter of fact, we have to remind ourselves not to pick the scab when we were kids. So a scab can look pretty ugly. But you also know that without the scab, the healing process wouldn't be happening. So suppose the world as we see it through our fear, the world that looks ugly and dangerous and fearful, suppose it was like what we were looking at is like this big scab. That what we're actually looking at is the healing of everything. That everything that's going on is part of divine healing, even though it looks ugly to a part of our minds. What if everything that's happening, even the thing that's most appalling to us, even the thing that seems most unfair, is somehow being used as a lesson and a healing for us in ways that we don't even understand and don't even see. Suppose the world is just one big scab right now. So what happens when this oneness that we're looking for is accomplished is that when you really, really, really feel your oneness, when you really feel your connection, these divine memories are going to come up. And when these divine memories come up, they're going to replace perception. They're going to replace, these divine memories are going to replace all of the things that you've learned from the past that produces fear. These divine perceptions are going to replace all the perceptions that you've learned. This is miracle mindedness. How do you know when you have miracle mindedness? When you have miracle mindedness, then all you have is divine perception. And divine perception is you remembering your connection to God, your connection to Source, your connection to each other, and your connection to me. The accomplishment of this state of being. What is the accomplishment of this state of being? Is the reason why you're here. So why are you here? You're here to replace any erroneous beliefs and concepts with divine memory of the truth and who you really are. And I'm going to tell you who you really are according to this. You are spirit, you are spirit, you are spirit, you are spirit, you are mind, you are mind, you are awareness, you are awareness, you are awareness, you are consciousness, you are spirit, you are all that is. That's the return to your real self. When you no longer see yourself as limited, when you no longer see yourself as a body that can die, when you no longer see yourself as separate from everything and everybody around you, when you no longer see yourself as depressed, when you no longer see yourself as missing anything, you no longer see yourself as lacking anything. When you get to that point, when you remember who you really are, that you are complete, that you are whole, that there's nothing missing in you, that you are God, that God is in you, and God is greater than you, but you are also God, you are also love, you are also spirit. And there's nothing missing in you. There's nothing lacking in you. So you're no longer praying out of any sense of lack. You're no longer praying to some God outside of you. You are consciously choosing to join. You're consciously choosing to connect. You're consciously choosing to join, to unite with love, to unite with the Creator, to unite with all there is. That is what heralds the return of heaven. That is what we mean by the second coming of Christ. In A Course in Miracles, it says, the second coming of Christ is nothing but the return of your common sense. That when you the second coming of Christ is just the return of your awareness of your true self. Your true self is an immortal self. Your true self is an unlimited self. Your true self never fears. Your true self is never angry. Your true self is never, ever afraid. Your true self only knows love. Your true self only knows total fulfillment. Your true self only knows oneness and connection to all that is. So what is this telling us? It's telling us that we are identifying with a self that is not our true self. And of course we're going to go through a lot of pain and conflict if we are identifying ourselves with our ego, if we're identifying ourselves with the part of us that does worry, does get angry, that gets sick, that feels afraid, that feels like one day it could die. If we identify with those ideas, if we identify with those programmings, then of course we're going to perceive things that frighten us. So you are praying to unite with your true self. It's the reason why you're here, is to return to that beautiful, unlimited, innocent creation that you really are. You are so damn cool. You are so awesome. You are so juicy. And if you believe anything about yourself other than how innocent and holy you are, you lying to yourself. So stop lying to yourself. Earl, stop lying to yourself. You are innocent, man. You are sinless. You are guiltless. And prayer is you consciously choosing union with yourself and union with your Creator. Mighty companion, that's true for you too. So we're going to do some quick takeaways. This chapter was very powerful, the act of prayer. And I want to thank you and invite you to share financial expressions of appreciation for what's just been shared. I am a teacher. That's what I'm on the planet for. I do it full time. And I trust that if you see value, that, and you're able to, that you will go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and share a financial expression of appreciation to continue to support this teaching ministry. I'm in the world just like you, with the exact same responsibilities that you have, and we all are dependent on the love of God working through each other to help us sustain each other in what we're doing. Also, I'm available for what I call clarity sessions. Don't forget, if you have not heard from me, then maybe there's some miscommunication happening. I get hundreds of emails a week. So just, send it to me again if by any chance you got in contact with me and you didn't get a response. Just get in touch with me again. earlpurdy.com. Now, those of you who are open-minded enough to trust intuitive and psychic knowledge, and the course talks about psychic abilities, I also have been an astrologer and a numerologist for 40 years. It was what got me on the spiritual path that led me to A Course of Love and A Course in Miracles to begin with. There is a divine plan for your life. All of this knowledge can be used in a session to help remove any of your blocks that you are having right now to getting in touch with that conscious union. Go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and it explains everything that I have to offer. Go do it. Do it. Be proactive about going past any of your blocks. With God, with Spirit, we can do this, and we can do it together. earlpurdy.com. John Christmas, that's .com for the music. If you want to find out more about A Course of Love, go to acourseoflove.org. This is too awesome. And at 1 o'clock on Sundays, Mountain Time, I do a Facebook Live, A Course in Miracles. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do A Way of Mastery on Facebook Live. And, of course, we got our Course of Love going on. Go to my website, sign up for my contact list. I will be doing online classes and workshops going into this fall. You all are just awesome. Now, what I'd like to invite you to do right now is to remember, here's some of the comments. I am not my thinking. You are not your thinking. I desire the truth that offers peace. That's another comment we got tonight. This is a time for us to recognize that it's a two-way dialogue. It's about asking, being answered, and responding, and consciously choosing for union. One of the prayers that we were told to say is, I dedicate all thoughts to union. Say that. I dedicate all thought to union. I dedicate all thought to union. Another comment is, my scabby little self is healing to reveal my higher self. That's right, Cheryl. I love this. I love this. Breathe. Now I'm going to tell you the truth about yourself. I'm going to tell you the truth about yourself one more time. And what we want to do is take really deep breaths now. And another definition of prayer is to ask to recognize what you have already received. If you ask to recognize what you have already received, that is another correct perception of prayer. Prayer isn't about asking for something that you think you don't have and that is missing. True prayer is asking to be able to recognize what you have already received. That's right, CJ. Let's dedicate all thoughts, and let's dedicate all thoughts to union. Dedicate all thought to union. I 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 dedicate all thought to union.
You are sinless. You are a child of God. You are sinless. You are sinless. Love you as you are. Your invulnerability was your father's guarantee that you would forever be completely free. But you keep on singing. You keep on singing. But you keep on singing the blues.
But you gotta stop.
It's time for you to quit singing. It's time for you to quit singing. It's time for you to learn you have nothing to lose.
Choose union now. Consciously choose. Consciously choose. Choose union now. I dedicate all thoughts to union. I dedicate all thoughts to union. I dedicate all thoughts to union. That's my act of prayer. I ask to recognize what I already have. I ask to recognize what I already have. Say what? I ask to recognize what I already have. I ask to recognize what I already have. Don't forget that it's time for divine memories. It's time to ask to have divine memories. True prayer is asking to remember your divine self, your true self, your God self, your spiritual self. That is the power of a real prayer. Ask to consciously join. Mighty companion, we did it again. We focused in on the course of love together. I so love you. I so appreciate you. Listen to this over and over again. I see your comments. Thanks for commenting. Please share this video. Takes a minute to do it or less. Mighty companions, dedicate all thought to union, and may the course be with you. Mwah. See you next time.